With the car folks on the east side, with the car folks on the west side, with the car folks on the north side, with the car folks on the south side, with the car folks on the east side, with the car folks on the west side, with the car folks on the north side, with the car folks on the south side. Got a broken system? You know you need more than just a bandage? Well, Mr. Roy Davila can build it up and sand it. I speak the truth, nothing but the truth.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy, and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman community. And I'm here with a very good friend and a huge member in the community, Mr. Roy Davila. Roy, the Wolf. What's up, brother, man? How you doing?
What's going on, brother, man? I've been trying to keep up with you and all your moves, man. It's hard to pinpoint Mr. Bradley right now. He's making big things happen.
Yeah, man, things are kind of crazy. I've just been traveling. I've been on tour, man. I've just been all over the country. I just came from the other day. I was in Colorado Springs for an NADA General Motors 20 group. It was really awesome getting to speak to this 20 group and just being part of the whole process of it. We've talked about this a million times, Roy, about Shakespeare said, "Show me your friends, I'll tell who you are." Being part of a mastermind group, with 22 dealer principals and GMs. These are 22 separate multi-millionaires that own sometimes multiple multi-million-dollar businesses. We're in one area just to talk about the business, their businesses, their pain points, their successes, and just, collaborate and synergize and be able to create that value. And then in between that, I'm speaking all over the country. The next thing I've got coming up is I'm going to be July 31st. I'm going to be flying to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for the Tracy Myers and Troy Springs Unfair Advantage Automotive Mastermind Group. It's going to be tied to the CIADA, which is the Carolina Independent Dealer Association. In August, we're also going to be at NAMAD in Miami, which is the National Association of Minority Automobile Dealers. And then in September, I'm going to break the news right now, Roy. Nobody knows this. We're shooting for September, possibly October, but I prefer September. I'm going to be working with Cox Automotive and Vince Solutions Corporate, and I'm going to be creating a national on-site event for them. So we're expecting 400 plus rooftops. So they've never done a consulting company before. They've had other trainers do webinars, but they've actually tasked me with Cox Automotive Corporate to create a national one-day workshop, for CRM for, all Vince Solutions clients. And then, as you know, I've been working with Toyota Manufacturer of the Chicago region, and, I've been crushing it for the entire year. They're so happy with us. Not only are they going to renew for 2025, but in addition to all the digital stuff that we've been doing, these webinars, these educational things, we're going to start moving into live training. And it looks like the Chicago region is going to be partnering with us for our new Millionaire Car Salesman Conference in 2025 in Chicago. So, Roy, that's where our next conference is going to be. It's going to be in Chicago in 2025. So
count me in, man. That's. I don't know how you're still breathing or you still have breath in your lungs. That's a lot.
I got one more. And I don't know if you heard, but LA Williams just got selected to be a featured speaker at NADA in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to be doing a lot at Digital Dealer in October in Las Vegas. So I'm going to be doing the major keynote with Brad Lee, Brad Lee of Dropping Bombs. Mm-hmm. So me and Brad are going to be keynoting the opening ceremony for Digital Dealer. I also have a breakout session I'm doing with Cody Carter, and then Tiana has got her own breakout session. So Dealer Synergy is going to be in full force in Las Vegas in October, and then we're doing, NADA. Yeah, so that's it for now. A lot of stuff.
Bro, that's huge. That's awesome. That's amazing. I'll be there in full support for all of it. So I'd love to see it.
And I've got an announcement of my own. I'm going to be speaking at the Rich Thinking 2024 conference in Philadelphia. Check it out. Unlock a wealth of wisdom at the Rich Thinking 2024 conference. Join Coach Michael Burke, Brian Gawke, Neil Bakshi, Amber Ibarra, and L.A. Williams as they share their secrets to success. Learn from the best and transform your thinking with practical strategies and powerful insights. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now for September 6th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Visit richthinking.org to secure your spot and unlock the wealth of wisdom that should be yours. Be there.
All right, man. So tell us what you've been up to. Where you at right now, and what's your role, and how's that going?
Man, so I'm with the Mike Terriato group that like we last spoke about in Baltimore. I'm helping with our Alice, our Chevy GMC store in Alice, Texas. The funny thing is that the conversation had started from a coaching standpoint, and then it kind of morphed into why don't you jump in with the staff and help us, boots on the ground. And to be honest with you, the opportunity and my background and my story very well. So pre-COVID, we kind of kicked ass, did our thing, top in the nation when it came to, Lithia and some of these other auto groups. Then you talk about COVID and being successful during COVID. So the opportunity to come into this post-apocalyptic, post-COVID negative equity, everybody's upside down, challenge credit, manufacturer restraints, an opportunity to come back into retail and really dominate in this market, I couldn't say no to. Just because, and man, my love is just like yours, and going and showing and teaching and proving and showing. I wanted to make sure that I could check off every box pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID. And I'm proud to say that our store here, little store with a population of less than, 30,000 people, we were top 3 as far as General Motors is concerned in percent to plan. We really, my team here is kicking ass, and they're following the process. They're following the coaching. We're running into the same obstacles and restraints everybody else is. We're problem solvers. We're not problem reporters. So I feel like getting my teeth back into the game and doing it again here on the retail side is only going to be better and stronger for later on. So I'm having a lot of fun. I'm learning and seeing real challenges that people are going through right now, and then figuring out how do we overcome it and how do we still continue to sell cars. You're talking about post-COVID where salespeople were making a ridiculous amount of money, right? Grosses were phenomenal, but now we're dealing with the aftermath of it. We're dealing with people that have this negative equity, that paid markups, that paid market adjustments, that paid for these things. They still need to buy cars, and these salespeople still need to make a living. Same with my manager. So it's been a fun ride to kind of jump back in, get back in the saddle, pick up where we left off, and then learn how to dominate this new market.
Well, let's dive into that. So I want to start going through, from my perspective, on a national, international basis, what as I see as challenges, and I want to reconcile with that and see if that's what you're seeing too. And then, as a high level operator, how you guys are handling it. So first and foremost, HR, recruiting, staffing has always been an issue. Retention is an issue. Attrition has been an issue before, during, and after COVID. As you know, Roy, Dealer Synergy has been doing recruiting and staffing for 20 years. We've successfully recruited it and hired over 38,000 automotive professionals. We help onboard these for dealers. I mean, we're hiring BDC reps, sales managers, GSMs. I even find GMs for dealers. Again, one of the challenges that I find that right now, we're about to go into August in 2024. And, right now, one of the biggest challenges is that a lot of stores that I see don't have enough people, and not only do they not have enough people, the people they do have aren't the best or highest caliber. So talent has been an issue. How is that going in your organization? Do you feel like you have enough salespeople, you have enough BDC reps, you have enough management, or do you feel that you are like the rest of the country and you have HR deficiencies as well?
So I'm going to put myself in the same position as the rest of the country, and for this reason alone. And it was I was very known in this market and in this area for what I did on the automotive side, on the retail side. Then I took a break, went on the coaching side, and coming back to it, I am now an hour away from my hometown where I built the reputation, where it took a phone call and I could staff a dealership like that, right? Just based on pure word of mouth. Referrals, whatever the case may be, people enjoyed working for me because they knew they were going to learn, they knew they were going to make money, right? Now, fast forward a couple of years later, some of those guys and gals are out of town. I'm an hour away. This is a smaller market. It can be a little riskier right? And I'll throw one more caveat out there. I don't pay on gross. We are a flat built pay plan. So, coming off the market we just came off of, that can be scary to some people, right? So I feel like I'm in the same boat as far as not being equipped or staffed enough. So when we spoke about this in Baltimore a little bit, my mindset has always been I want to be a problem solver, not a problem reporter, right? I know that this is my baby. It may not be the prettiest, but I can't throw it out with the bathwater. I've got to do the best at what I can do with it. That's where my social media game comes into play. I have to stay relevant. I have to stay in front of different salespeople in my market. I've got to show them what makes us different. I got to give, just like we do why buys with customers, I got to do why work for us, right? Or for me and this team. The other thing is I've got to make sure that my team, I have to be realistic with the skill level that we have. Then I have to go and train to that skill level. Where do my managers need to get more involved? Where do we need to play a bigger part or a bigger role to support the staff that we have? Because I don't have a bunch of veterans. I do have some green people that maybe just have COVID experience or even no experience at all. So us as leaders have to step up and kind of be that buffer so that our customer doesn't suffer, right? And then when it comes to, and kudos, I'm gonna on a national level here, my BDC best month ever that they've ever had in history of these organizations. I got a team of girls back there that are kicking butt, that take the coaching, that take the initiative, mixed with some traditional marketing that we're doing. They're embracing the remote strategies that I like to use. With the strength of that department there, it makes me have to lean on my managers and our engagement and involvement even more when I have an unseasoned staff, right? So to answer your question, going through the same problem, same issues, I feel like you have to out-train it and you have to outwork it as a management staff. We got to get up, go out there until we find somebody like Sean that can help us staff up and bring some high caliber, high quality people in the door.
Well, just know that if you guys ever at Mike Terry need some recruiting staffing, holler at your boy. But here's what I'm going to say to you, that a lot of my stores are now really maximizing on a national basis is AI and artificial intelligence, because and I don't know if you've had experience with Podium, but man, the more that I get to know what Podium is doing and providing, honestly, Roy, the software is really cool. The ability to have a team of artificial agents, so to speak, right? That's what AI is that you could be omnipresent. I love that word. That means that you are all places at all times. Being omnipresent with AI can help a dealership that has HR deficiencies, because if you don't have the physical bodies that are there, those tasks still need to get done. The emails, the text messages, the phone calls. Again, at the end of the day, remember, this is a very simple business. First and foremost, you need an opportunity to do business, meaning you need a lead, you need a prospect, you need somebody to sell a vehicle to. So if you've got a lead or leads, plural, then you need to make outbound attempts, whether those are emails, phone calls, text messages, social media DMs, whatever. You need to have some type of outbound inertia. And it's a numbers game. The more people you reach out to, the more connections, the more appointments, the more shows, the more sales. And if you don't have the human resources, if you don't have bodies doing this, then you're only limited, on the potential amount of sales based on the limited amount of HR that you have. So here's what I'm going to say to everybody, including you, my brother, that if you are not utilizing artificial intelligence, specifically conversational AI, then you're missing the boat. As you know, because you were at IS20G in Baltimore, that's one of the big things we were talking about. There was a session that was there, and there's a panel about that. So for all of our listeners, I tell you, I encourage you to explore AI. And even if it's scary, even if it's a little bit confusing, it's not Terminator. It's not like that. Yeah.
Skynet.
Yeah. So it's not Skynet. But, and if you don't know who to look into, again, definitely check out Podium AI, Podium Artificial Intelligence. So, Roy, AI is one thing. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Man, I'm going to say we're selling over 100 cars a month at this store. I have a staff of about 10 salespeople. I've got a BDC of 3 reps and 1 manager, right? I'll tell you right now, we're 14 days into the month. We still have about 11 or 12 left to go. uh, I've already had on over 300 internet leads or opportunities come through the dealership. If I just relied on the personnel alone, that would not, I'd be dropping opportunities left and right. We do, and Sean, granted, most of my strategies and thought processes and what I do come from our mastermind sessions together, or the connections that we've made, especially being a part of the group and around you for as long as I have the benefit of most of the time being ahead of the curve, not behind. Right. So I do rely heavily. I do have an AI third party company that I work with that helps me with exactly that lead follow up. Right.
Tell our audience how that works. You don't have to mention the name of the company or what have you.
Okay.
It's all good. But again, just let us know, what does the AI protocol look like? How often does it get deployed? What is it supposed to do? And is it actually working? And if so, quantify what does it mean? What does working mean? What is your benefits? What are your results from AI?
So let's think about if you don't have AI and you're just simply relying on your staff, and you talk about a store like me where I am a needle pusher. We're going to do more. We're going to sell more cars than the stores traditionally used to, right? So that means that the staff's going to have to work harder. But normally, and you know this, Sean, you never grow your staff at the same speed at which you're growing your business. It's hard to say, hey, we're going to triple or we're going to double sales and we're going to double the staff at the same time. Right. It's usually the sales go first, and then you start to bring some people on, and then you got to train them and get them up to that level. There's so much that goes along with it. So if I did not have that, you talk about all these opportunities that I have, and I'm pushing these people for follow-ups. There's only so many calls, texts, emails you're going to get out of somebody naturally. And even I, who Mr. Accountability, have the quarter times and everything set in place, there's still not enough time in the day for me to sell cars and get my people to make sure that every lead, every opportunity, every orphan owner, every service customer, every phone call gets the attention and follow up that it deserves. So what I do with the AI is I bring it in, and it's all complete. The thing that I love about it is it's all a cart. You can make it what you want it and how you want it. You can make that AI work the way you want it to work. For me personally, I think that my AI needs to get involved and engage with my internet leads and my phone ups and my follow up, where my BDC and my human element can't do it. So there's a time limit. If something comes in and it hasn't been responded to in the time limit that I want it responded to, the AI jumps in, takes on the conversation, whether that's an inbound lead, whether that's a follow-up customer, whether that's somebody that's been waiting on a response, a text that came through, and we just haven't got back to it. There's a time limit on each one of those funnels, if you will, that the AI is going to jump in and move the conversation forward. What I love about these AI companies and where they're at now is it's hard to differentiate between my salesperson and the AI. And the AI has the capability to move that customer from not only conversation, but all the way to the point of an appointment, to setting the appointment, to asking the information we need to. I'm telling you, Sean, it's scary how real some of these conversations look and feel. And it's allowed me to run the numbers we're running, the contact ratios, the set ratios, the shown ratios have all gone up since implementing this one piece. And I'll tell you, we went from not knowing if an on-site BDC was the answer to, man, they're kicking ass and taking names, and they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And it's no knock to my team. They're still running. They're going. They just have the support now, where it's almost like I've duplicated. And instead of having 3 BD reps, now I got 10 back there because of the amount of production that's happening. And then you talk about the campaigns that you can create with it. You talk about text blasts and email blasts. And if it's sophisticated enough, you can even have voicemail campaigns that go out there. It's like solving your staffing woes overnight and doing it with somebody that's skilled, that you don't have to train, that you don't have to teach. It's just plug and play. And you set the boundaries.
I'm going to push back on that.
Okay.
Just not in a bad way, but in a specific, literal way. You do train it, but it's different, because that's what the true AI, conversational AI, artificial intelligence, that's what makes it artificial intelligence instead of like a chat bot or
It's
if then
learning.
it's learning. So real AI, like the podium AI I was talking about, it's able to read the emails, it's able to read the text, it's able to read the chats, and it learns from what the person is saying and asking in the CRM history, and it will change. So the more time that the more content that the AI gets to read and interpret and process, it gives it a more sophisticated type of conversation and response. So it's called machine learning. That's what it is. So I think that is spectacular. Now, okay, I want to frame this in a different way for the audience. I already know that you know what I'm about to say because we've talked about this before, but I want to bring something to everybody's attention. The hardest part of internet sales is just getting the person on the phone for a couple reasons. One, first and foremost, the average buying cycle on a new car is over 90 days. Okay. It's now gone back down. The pandemic pushed it up to 120, 150 days because of the low inventory and the factory direct orders. But since the inventory is coming back, it's definitely scaled back down, but it's still post 90 days. So, fact one, in the month of July, if you have 600 internet leads, you're not going to sell all 600 people. You're not even going to sell a majority of those people because not everybody is going to be in market. As a matter of fact, over 60% of people, way over 6% of people are not going to buy from you or anywhere else within the month of July. So you've got to understand that just time, gestation is a reason why sometimes it takes days, weeks, or months to connect with somebody. The second reason is this, and this is very important. JD Power says that the average internet prospect is searching 9 to 11 other dealerships and websites. If you are a Chevy dealership and someone's interested in a Silverado, the average prospect is going to look at least between one and two other Chevy dealerships for availability, pricing, trying to keep the dealership honest. But if I'm a Silverado prospect, I might be a Ram 1500 prospect. I might be a GMC Sierra, prospect. I might be a Ford F-150 prospect. I might be a Toyota Tundra prospect. And then I might not just be looking at new franchise dealerships. I might be
Mm.
looking at a pre-owned Chevy that might be sitting on a Nissan lot or Kia's lot. I might be looking at Car Gurus or Auto Trader. So at the end of the day, that's another big reason because it's not just you and your dealership that the prospect is submitting an internet purchase request with. So, and I could go on and on, but bottom line is this, folks, is that an internet sale by far is not instant gratification. An
Mm.
internet sale is an intermediate to long-term follow-up. So the challenge is how can you handle intermediate to long-term prospect and follow-up? All those emails, text messages, social media DMs, Apple FaceTimes, video conferences, e-cards, voicemail messages, all that stuff. So AI can help you not only with HR deficiency, but specifically help you with all of those activities and all those frequencies over longer periods of time. So that's the AI. Okay, let's transition. Okay, so if dealers are struggling for HR, here's something that, Roy, I don't know, because we haven't been able to talk about this. I made the announcement on one of my previous podcasts. I don't know if you heard the episode, but Dealer Synergy is deep involved in a partnership in Belize. Okay, so
Mm.
Belize is a country in Central America. It was formerly British Honduras. It was a British colony up until the 70s where it got its independence. The first language, the primary language is English. So English
Mm.
is the primary language in Belize. And the time zone is either on Central or Mountain Time. So I'm in Eastern right now. It is 3:30 almost Eastern time. In Belize, it is 1:30. So there's only a 2-hour difference, which makes this outsourced call center amazing. Now,
Yeah.
what we're doing is I have a partnership that I'm building. So there's already a call center in Belize. There's a bunch of them. There's a call center in Belize that has 300 agents already employed. It is a massive facility that's got 300 dialers on board. Now, just to let you guys understand, minimum wage in Belize, which we're not paying minimum wage, we're paying way above that, is just to put in perspective about $2.50 American. But that's not somebody who we want or who you would want. You know what I mean? So I'm just using it as a correlation. So $2.50 American is their minimum wage. So do you understand? If you doubled that or tripled that, so we're talking about 750 an hour approximately, right? Think about what you can get. You could get a
High
college
caliber.
graduate. You get a high caliber person in an island country, right? That
Hmm.
English is their first language. And do you understand how prestigious this is to be able to work for an American multi-million dollar company, to be able to be certified by Dealer Synergy, etc. So what we're doing is my team, I've been doing automotive internet sales for, again, 26 years now. I've owned Dealer Synergy for over 20 years with all of my successes. Now, the reason why I never supported outsourced call centers is for these following reasons. Reason number one is that most call centers are only doing initial follow-up. You know, on average, they're going to call for 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days. You're freaking lucky if you get a real outsourced BDC to do more than like a week to 10 days. Our call center is going to have different options. 30 days minimum consistent aggressive follow-up. And then we're going to have a tier two package for intermediate to long-term follow-up. So the minimum that my call center is going to be doing in Belize is 30 days and less. And then it's going to be 32 to 90. Now,
Hmm.
in addition to that, the other problem is that most call centers are not CRM experts. As you know, Dealer Synergy is the preeminent CRM training company. We're on every major advisory board, etc. So we are literally right now in the process of training these agents. So me and my team are flying to Belize, training Belizean sales reps and BDC reps on inbound, outbound phone protocol,
Hmm.
inbound, outbound text messaging, social media communications, video communications, and full-blown CRM. So we're training these people, my people, to be completely fluent in internet and BDC operations at a fraction of the cost. So Dealer Synergy is not changing our model. You know, dealers could hire us for recruiting, for staffing, for training, for support, or if they don't want to deal with any of that shit, if they don't want to deal with liabilities, payroll, benefits, all that stuff, they could just hire the Dealer Synergy outsourced call center and we could turn around and just get appointments that show up.
Bam.
Now, what do you think about that, Roy?
Full spectrum, man. That's full spectrum. That's definitely one of the things that you and I talked about a long time ago was not being one dimensional. And every time that I see the moves that you make, that's it. You're adding another dimension. That's not really. And the thing that I want to stress about either both things that you're bringing up today, AI and the outsourced BDC, whatever it is, here's what your concern should be, and a major. I don't want to say selling factor, but closing factor for you to decide on either one of these things or both, why they're both beneficial. You got to think about the customer experience. You have to think about the customer's experience when they deal with your dealership in your store. And it's not just, we get so caught up in the belly to belly, the meet and greet, the road to the sell and that part of it. But we fail to realize that the experience starts with that first interaction. When they jump on your website, when they engage with your store, what happens next? And if they're staying in the funnel, like Sean's saying, for as long as they are, then that experience is prolonged. It's not just a fancy website anymore. It's not just good specials. It's not just your chat bot. Now it's how do they engage? How do they interact? How often do we interact and engage? One of the biggest pain points that customers have with salespeople and dealerships is the lack of follow-up. They feel like they're hounding you because they can't get an answer, right? And think about today's market, credit, negative equity, all of it. I get it. A lot of deals don't go down right now, right? There's some of them we have to work on. We're waiting for a piece of inventory. We're waiting for a bid on a trade. We're waiting for all these things to happen. The number one problem we have is follow-up. We do not engage with these customers long enough, and now they feel like they're hounding us. Your salesperson's like, man, I don't want to answer that, or whatever the case is. These are things that are going to help with all of that. So kudos to you, Sean, for adding another dimension to the Dealer Synergy brand and just solving another pain point and problem that dealers are really having.
Listen, a lot of people are saying, why Belize? A lot of people don't know this, but I'm Belizean. You know, my
Yep.
father is 100% Belizean. He was born in lived most of his childhood in Belize. So I'm actually first generation in this country. And Roy, you might not even know this. I have a lot of family in Belize. They're in the Belizean government, in the ministry. I've got, like my cousins over there are corporate attorneys, bankers. We actually own commercial property. And you ready for this? My family also owns one of the casinos. There's only two casinos in Belize. My family owns one of them. So I've got a lot of resources. So for me, it's not like I'm going to some random country. I'm going to my country where I've got serious family that are in government,
Blood
power,
and roots.
money, and everything like there. And here's what my vision is. So I'm going to put this to the universe. What I want to be able to do is, as I get this business flushed out, we're going to probably build, $1 million plus house over there. And when I'm, working in Belize, I'm going to be chilling in my place. And when I'm not there, I'm going to use my paradise in tropical paradise, my compound, and I'm going to basically invite my American clients, dealer principals and GMs. I'll be like, "Hey, Roy from Mike Terry, why don't you and Mike Terry, why don't you go stay at my house in Belize for the weekend or for the week with your family? Are you fucking kidding me? It's the number two dive-in in the world next to the coral reef in Australia. It is a tropical paradise. Madonna wrote that song, La Isla Bonita, you know what I mean? That the San Pedro is one of the most beautiful islands in the world, is an island in Belize.
That's beautiful, man. That's awesome, man. I can't wait. I'll be looking for the invite. You tell
Hell
me,
yeah.
I'll book the plane. We're
Oh,
going.
we're definitely going to chill in Belize. You know what I'm saying? But so the call center, the outsourced call center to me solves a lot of problems. But for 20 years I've been pushing back against it because most call centers weren't set up the right way. They didn't have the right skills and they would jump around. They're like mercenaries. So they have if the call center has 10, 20 agents or whatever it's going to be, first of all, we have 300. That's a lot of
Mm.
bodies. It's a lot of Belizeans, right? One little Belizean, two little Belizeans, three little Belizeans. I got all Belizeans on my team, right? And I could say that because I'm Belizean man, right? So anyway, the idea though is, man, that gets me excited is I'm going to be able to go to dealers and say, look, we could build this for
How do
you
you
here
want
in
it?
the States, or we could just do it for you. All you got to do is stroke a check, and will get quality appointments that show up to the dealership.
You
That way,
solve
there's
the
no
problem.
pushbacks. Just that's it. I'm trying to make this as easy and simple for dealers. So if any of you are listening to this and you're interested in the dealer synergy outsourced BDC in Belize, holla at your boy. You know what I mean? I got you. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is, and I want your opinion about this, Roy, because we've talked about this in the past. The challenges, this is just the challenge and solutions conversation podcast, right? So we talked about HR is a challenge, right? And I just gave you two solutions. The solution is AI is one, and another one is outsourced. You know what I mean? That way you don't have to worry about the recruiting, staffing, the payroll, the liability, et cetera. Now let's get into the next thing. And I believe that what a lot of dealers are finding out right now, and it's scaring the shit out of them, is the employees that they have are not prepared. Remember Tiffany
Mm.
Haddish, or Kevin Hart? She wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. They're not ready, Roy. These people are not ready because for the last 3.5 years, you didn't have to be sophisticated. You didn't have to worry about an integrity-based process. You didn't have to worry about the road to the sale. You didn't have to worry about, dotting your I's and crossing your T's. You know why? Because if you had the inventory, you're selling the car. And not only if you had the inventory, you're selling the car, but you could sell it at list or freaking over list. But now those days are numbered. And for some dealers, those are already gone. But for some dealers,
Mm.
they're still benefiting, but they are numbered because the manufacturers' inventories are rising and rising, which means that there's OEM incentives. Every channel I turn on nowadays, there's car commercials with 0%, 1.9%. It's like back before the pandemic, which means that dealers are also now racing to the bottom. They're cutting costs, they're discounting cars. So how can the current population of sales reps and BDC reps compete when you have to turn around and understand value? You need to understand qualifying. You need to understand how to present the vehicle, whether it's virtually or through communications or live. How could you identify expectations and how could you overcome objections and utilize rebuttals and all this stuff? So I think training is important. So tell me what your thoughts are at a high level executive of a dealer group. How important is training? And do you agree with me? Do you believe that most dealerships right now are struggling with the new reality?
Listen, if you don't have access to Bradley On Demand, you're missing out on crucial information. The top automotive groups like Coons, Lithia, and Norm Reeves have all used Bradley On Demand to train their teams. And guess what? The world's #1 car salesman, Cody Carter, shares his exclusive strategies right here. You want his secrets? You gotta have Bradley On Demand. Stop waiting and start winning. Dominate your market. Click the link and get access now.
100%. Training is something, and I learned this from you, man. It's not something you did, it's something you do, right? Training is an ongoing, it's like taking a bath. You got to make sure, and here's the deal. I know, and I learned this from you guys as well. Stephen Covey, you begin with the end in mind. You begin with the end in mind. And with that, I understand what hurdles and obstacles that I'm going to run into. I understand when I'm trying to come up with a process, when I'm trying to come up with an idea, when I'm trying to come up with something, I think of a few things, right? What could get in the way of making this work, right? Who do I need to influence most for it to work? And then what do I need to prep them with, or how do I need to prep them to make sure that number one doesn't happen, right? I already know the obstacles. So I know that credit is a challenge. I know all these things we're going against. My job as a leader is to prep my people to better service. And I'm going to say this again, the experience with my customer. I want to out experience everybody else. And I've been saying this since before COVID, right? But that means something different nowadays. That means that I want my customer to feel like they're in great hands when they show up to this dealership. And regardless of what the advertisement is, regardless if it's 10 grand off, 1.9, 0%, because here's the truth. The fact of the matter is 85% of customers buy something completely different than what they thought they were going to buy, especially in this market, right? So granted, they do all this research. They jump online. They visit 11 dealerships on websites. They gather all of this data, and then they show up and they see the expert. And the expert's job is to consult and help you solve your problem. And a lot of times, it's not going to be what the customer thought it was going to be. My job is to make sure that my managers and my salespeople understand, how do I help these customers solve their problems? How do I help them feel heard? How do I help them feel important? And how do I help them feel like we took care of them? So I need to prep them daily. I need to make sure that our process is tight. I need to take as much variable out of this variable game as I can. And I need to make sure that my people are prepped to get so far. And I also, one of my favorite sayings right now, Sean, play your position. Play your position. I need you to do this. Your job is to get the deal to this point. My manager jumps in, this guy takes this turn, and all of a sudden it's a beautiful play, right? Think about it. Kobe and Shaq had 2 coaches before Phil Jackson. 2 coaches before Phil Jackson. No championships. What won them the championships? The process, baby, the triangle, right? So in this market right now, if you aren't training, if you aren't developing your people, if you aren't spending the time doing that, somebody else is. And that's my game has always been the same. I am going to come in and not only am I going to outwork my competition, but I'm going to out-train them and out-experience them. I'm going to make sure that my team's prepped and ready, so that if you Pepsi Challenge, Sean, go visit the guys across the street. I promise you, it's not going to feel the same, be the same. Any of it. They might beat me on a dollar amount on a car deal, but the way that you feel, the trust that you get, and the experience that we give you, it's going to be unparalleled.
So, Roy, let's go through, let's create like a checklist for our listeners, right? What should a salesperson in today's market, in today's day and age, what should they be trained on? Forget about who trains them, but what knowledge? So I'm going to ask you a direct question. Roy is a high-level automotive executive manager. What do you want your salespeople to know and be able to do? I'm going to repeat the question again. What do you want your salespeople to know and be able to do? Go.
I want them to know how to, and I'm going to use this word lightly. I don't mean it the way it used to. We used to think qualify meant that we would pre-qual somebody and judge them. That's not the case at all. I want them to know how to actively listen, engage with my customers, and qualify them truthfully, meaning I want to know what dominant buying motives are. I want to know current financial situations. I want to know their payment on their trade. I want to know what they like about it, what they don't. I want to know what they're looking to get into. I want to get a little personal with my people or with my customers, and I want to figure out what's their pain point, what are they trying to solve, so that I can put the recipe together for them. So I don't need my guys or gals to be amazing closers. I don't need them to know closing word tracks like the back of their hand. I don't need them to know how to put grandma in the corner and hard closer. I need them to know how to actively listen and really figure out what is that customer looking to accomplish, what's their dominant buying motives, and how do we solve their problem. I have a guest sheet, and I know you're big on them as well. That guest sheet is my recipe. That guest sheet right there is more than just a couple of lines with some words on it. That thing truly allows me to guide both my salesperson and my customer into what I can do to truly help them accomplish what they want, whether that be lowering a payment, getting into something nicer, whatever the case is, beating their interest rate. I am going to figure out what makes that car deal tick, and then I'm going to go solve the problem. So I need my salespeople to understand how to truly qualify a customer while making them feel like we're actively listening, engaging, and taking care of them, not just pre-qualifying.
Well, it's funny you mention that because NADA says the number one reason why people don't buy cars is because they're landed on the wrong car. They weren't qualified the proper way. And you're right about playing your position. You know, when you watch football, I'm going to use the greatest team of all time, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm just letting you know it is what it is, bro. Don't fight it. It's my show. So again, you know, when you are watching the best football team on the planet, the Eagles play, right? And when you watch them, you don't see Jake Elliott, which is the kicker, basically snapping the ball, or you don't see him as the quarterback. Maybe there's a trick play, but that's not his normal position. And so I like what you said. Yes, a salesperson could do a lot of different things, but you know, that's not what they're necessarily needed for. What they are needed for, and I'm going to take a step before the qualifications, is rapport building. You know,
Mm.
you need to have a personality, Roy. They need to be able to engage with another human being, be able to establish common ground, be able to humanize themselves, be able to take people off guard if they're anxious or like a little bit apprehensive about dealing with a salesperson or a car dealership. You need somebody that's got a personality that's warm and fuzzy, like Dale Carnegie. Carnegie has that big course, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's
People
what we need to fucking train these salespeople on, man, is how to win friends and influence
and influence
people.
people.
You know, and most dealers don't do that, you know, and
No.
we're honest with each other. Some people that they hire, it's like they're breathing, you're hired, and they don't have a personality. So again, or they have a rough personality, or they're a hothead, or they're an introvert. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You can't be a lifeguard but don't like water. So you know what I mean, if you hire somebody that doesn't like people, how's that going to work? So I think that we need to teach them people skills, relationship building skills,
Building skills.
humanizing skills, you know, socialization skills. I think that is not more important, but it's the egg to the chicken of the qualifying. You need what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well, you need the egg. You know what I mean? Well, where's the egg come from? I don't know. That's a God question, and I'm not that level, but I'm using a basic anatomy, you know, level. You need a vessel first before you could have the product. So anyway, so if we have are people trained, you know, on personality and social skills and collaboration? I think that is missing. Here's another thing that we don't teach people: how to frickin' speak.
Mm.
How to speak. Look, I want to turn you out right now with something because I know that you haven't done this with your team yet. So I want to challenge you on the air to make this happen, Captain. Is think about this. Okay. You know what my wife used to do in her previous life? What does she do in the industry?
What does she do in the industry?
What did she do in the other industry?
Oh, she was an artist, man.
A recording artist. So what was her main instrument?
Her voice.
Her voice. Do you know, even though she sang pop club music, she had a Hungarian opera singer vocal coach.
Oh,
True. Her name
wow.
was Eldiko. Yeah, her name was Eldiko. This is true story. And so she would, but why? For the vocal ranges. So when
Range.
she wanted to practice her vocal ranges and things like that, she had a vocal coach, but she went there. Now let's just use this. Do you play any instruments, or does anybody in your family play an instrument?
Guitar, brother.
There you go. So think about this. If you ever want to play a Madison Square Garden, don't you have to practice your guitar, Roy? Don't you have to practice whether they're power chords or they're individual chords? Don't you have to, you know, practice and practice that instrument? Yes or no?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so what is a salesperson's instrument? Their speech,
Speech.
their talking, their vocabulary. There's an art to speaking. Okay, there's an art to influencing, there's an art to
Mm,
negotiation, there's an art to telling stories. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, there's organizations like Toastmasters. Toastmasters is like the gym, like a physical gym for speaking. You don't have to
speaking.
be a professional speaker. You could be a lawyer, a consultant, a salesperson, a trainer, or whatever. But if you want to be the best sales rep, then where are you practicing neurolinguistics? Where are you practicing stagecraft? Where are you practicing, the science of communication? We're not doing this. But yet we're professionals. Bullshit. You know what a professional is to me? A gold medalist in the Olympics. Michael Phelps is a professional swimmer and a professional diver. How do you know? All those damn gold medals tell me so.
A
He is
master of the craft.
he's the master of the craft. And if you look, Dave Chappelle says he is a master of the craft of comedy. You know what I mean? You said my wife is a recording artist. She was a professional recording artist. If we are professional salespeople, then how are you going to say that title? You're false flagging. You're false
Phony.
claiming. You are not
It's
not
all right. Call them
representing the
out, Sean.
true.
But that's the truth of the matter. And if we're gonna get real, you get real, right? Like, and you know what? But coming from places like where you and I come from, you have a respect and a love for the craft that we're in. I don't know. I posted something a little while ago, and I shared it from another cat that said, proud to be Otto. It's the truth. This is an opportunity that you have that changes lives more than anything else in this world. There is no other business that can change your life the way that it has done for you. And man, I got big shoes to follow and watching yourself, and it's why I move the way I move. But truthfully, nothing can give you the opportunities that this business can. But I feel like there's so many people in this industry that just take it for granted and take it as and I had this conversation with my staff and my BDC. Is it a job or is it a career? Right? Is it a job or is it a career? Is it a 9 to 5 that I punch in and I'm only going to do this much, or is it a career? Because a career you go to school for, a career you spend money on, a career you get a degree, a career you got student loans, a career you got all these things. But in this career, we're just going to take whatever is on the job, whatever my manager's willing to give me at 8 o'clock in the morning.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you just said something. I think like Meek says, there's levels to this shit, right? I think the job is one thing, and I think even a career, like what people are chasing, but I think the next level up is the art of it, the
Oof.
craft of it, because that to me exceeds. And I've never heard this dialogue, this conversation in our industry by any one of these experts. I haven't even said this before, but as we're talking out loud and we're freestyling, if you think about it, I'm thinking, man, Kobe Bryant, when he passed away, the thing that everybody said was that he was relentless. He was
Oof.
a master of his craft. He loved the craft of basketball. He loved the art of basketball, and he was a fan of it. And let's go to Dave Chappelle, man. Whether you like him or not, I love Mr. Dave Chappelle. He's my favorite, and
Same.
he is a fan. He is a
Of
fan
the
of the
yeah.
art of comedy. Like, he loves to just to be a student. Like, and for me, like I think I'm the best at what I do, but I could also love and respect other talented people in our industry that are talented because I love the craft. I love the craft of automotive sales more than my ego. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm
Mm.
going to say that again. I love the craft and our industry more than I love my accomplishments. When I look at like an Ali Retta or Cody Carter, I don't have envy. I don't
Hate.
have
Yeah.
jealousy. I'm fucking proud I know those guys. I'm proud that I know people that have taken our craft to a extraordinary level. And I love trying to decode that greatness. I'd love to be
Yes.
able to ascertain what is the genius equation from an Ali Retta or a
Well, and
Cody
it's
Carter.
not only that, man. It's you want to talk about a love for the game, and this is what I learned here in this our relationship. It's not only a love for the game, but an appreciation. And then, like you said, I want to dissect it, but you also like you put everybody else on too. Like, okay, look, this person's doing something phenomenal, right? Why keep that all right here? Let's show the world how we do it. Let's show
Yes.
the world how it's done. Let's show the world how they can be just like fill in the blank.
Listen, if you don't have access to Bradley On Demand, you're missing out on crucial information. The top automotive groups like Coons, Lithia, and Norm Reeves have all used Bradley On Demand to train their teams. And guess what? The world's #1 car salesman, Cody Carter, shares his exclusive strategies right here. You want his secrets? You gotta have Bradley On Demand. Stop waiting and start winning. Dominate your market. Click the link and get access now.
So it's not like, okay, here's this 48 laws of power type shit. Like, I'm just going to keep it close to me and it's mine and forget you guys. I'm going to hoard it, keep it right here. No, here's a stage. Here's the go teach. If you have something that's worth value, if you have something to add, if you have, man, I never would have thought if this Facebook group never would have came about and we never would have had this relationship, I'd still just be a used car manager sitting in Corpus Christi, Texas. Never having been able to grace the stage of anything of any kind or have the platform and the voice that I'm blessed to have these days. But part of that, and the biggest thing that I've learned, is you got to give it back too. That your love for the game is contagious, right? I came back from Baltimore wired up, and the connections that I had and the people that I'm in contact with, it's amazing. These doors would have never opened, but it stems from your love of the game. Your love of what we do, to not keep it here, but to open it up and say, hey, everybody can play and get something from it, right? You jump on, you take the, man, we have people in tears at the end of the conference, in tears because of what this business does and the doors you've opened and so on and so forth. That makes it also frustrates me that other people don't see and master their craft the way that we talk about.
Yeah, so let's get into that. That was my next segue too. So you were right on top of it. That was perfect transition point. Here is, I know that, you know that, but then why are dealerships not doing that? See, one of the questions I just got at this 20 group, I was just at this 20 group in Colorado Springs the other day, and one of the dealers, very respectfully, it wasn't a challenge. He was just curious, like how does someone go into a store and get excitement, get buy-in, and get implementation? So let's just talk about you. How did you do that at Mike Terry? You know, when you came in there, obviously they brought you in because they had some challenges or they had some goals they wanted to achieve. You know, how do you do it, Roy? How do you go into an organization and get them to drink the Kool-Aid and fall in love with this craft, fall in love with this industry, and march to the beat of the drum that you're trying to play at?
You cannot come in boasting titles, positions, or anything else like that. And I'm going to tell you, and you know this, Sean, and I'm going to speak a little confidently now, right? Not cocky, but just confident. I have the records to show it. I think I'm one of the best guys behind a desk in the nation. I don't think there's many guys that can sit with me toe to toe and lead a sales team the way that I can, as far as penciling car deals, making customers happy, and making the dealership profitable, right? I think that hands down, put me behind a desk and I'll run it. But my first 2 or 3 weeks in this store, I took turns. I picked up phones. I led by doing what I'm about to ask my people to do. I built the confidence and the trust in the trenches, in the front line with my people. I didn't do it from an ivory tower, right? I did it at the bottom. I came out here and I turned 100% of the car deals that came on this floor, I was involved, engaged in. Follow-up, I was involved and engaged in. Leads, I was involved and engaged in. My plan of attack was this: I'm going to get you to follow me into battle because you know I'm a seasoned warrior, not because of my resume or my accolades, but because my sword is still sharp, right? It's not collecting dust. That bad boy's still on my hip. I still unsheath it, and I can go lead you into battle just like anybody else can, right? Or better. So I earned the confidence there. Then the next step was, now I'm going to sit behind the desk and I'm going to take as many of these car deals as I can. And I'm going to show you, not only can I close the deals, not only can I pick up the phone, not only can I do all these things I'm asking you to do, but I can get your stuff done too. I can get it done quick. I can get it done fast, and I can make your customers happy. I can make you trust me that at the end of the day, when I'm going to ask you to go to battle with me or go to war with me, you trust that I have your back and that I know what I'm talking about because I've proven it to you, right? I've shown you that. I think where we get caught up a lot of the times is we go in and we ask people to follow us. We ask people, or we tell them to follow us. We tell them to do this. We instruct. Hey, you need to do this. You need to have this many calls. You need to have this. You need to have that. With no buy-in whatsoever, other than, hey, my name's Roy. This is my title. Follow me now or else. We don't spend enough times developing the relationship with our people and the trust that, hey, I can go to battle with this guy because he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. I feel like he trusts me. He has my best interest at heart. There's emotional deposits that are made with these people that we don't have the time to, we make excuses about, or we just think that our title and position are going to do it for us. There's a lot that goes into being a great leader or manager in a store. And I think that we get so caught up in just what the job should be, desking a car deal, closing a customer, and not so much in the relationship building like we talked about. They got to build relationships with customers. Well, we got to build relationships with these folks. You know, I've been saying this for a while. In the absence of value, right? Price is important. Well, with our people, in the absence of purpose, titles and money are the only thing that are important. And I ask you, is that what drives?
Repeat that for the people in the bleachers, man. Repeat what you just said. That was hot. That was hot.
In the absence of purpose, the only thing that's going to drive your people are titles and money, right? So we need to tap into our people's purpose, and purpose is a bunch of different things. Purpose can be title. I may want to be a manager one day, right? But do I want to be a manager for you, or do I just want to be a manager? Do I want to be a manager for Sean Bradley Automotive, or do I just want the title, period? Because if I want to be a manager for Sean, that's purpose. That means that I want to go be who he is, how he is, the way he runs. I love the culture. That's what I'm chasing. Or do I just want to get a sales manager title just because that's what I want? That's not purpose. That's somebody chasing a title. And the problem is titles and money can come and go. Anybody can throw it out there. But when you got somebody tapped into purpose, they'll never leave you. They'll give you opportunities. Somebody will give them an offer, and they'll bring it to you and say, hey, Sean, so-and-so just offered me this, man, but I love it here. I don't want to take it, right? That's purpose-driven people. And I think that our problem is we don't tap into that side of it enough. We just have employees that are doing their job, and we're doing the same thing, right? Look at your staff. Are they moving the way you want them to move? If they're not, it's a reflection of you.
I think that you are spot on, Roy, for two reasons. One is that if you could instill confidence in your people that you know the product, you know the CRM, you're using the CRM yourself, you know how to handle whatever situations, whether it's a phone up or it's an internet customer or it's a heat case in there. I think being able to feel confident that your leader is not an idiot or a dictator is gonna help you, create the culture of success on the floor. I know that if I had a manager that was really proactive, that would help me and not make me feel like I was stupid or I was inconveniencing him or her, but somebody that was happy and excited to be able to jump in on a TO and to lead by example, that would make me feel good to work with that person and reach out to that person and listen to that person. Now,
Well, and you can hold people accountable, man. It doesn't have to be all sunshine and rainbows. Accountability isn't a
bro,
bad
this is
word.
Sean Bradley. I'm damn sure not all sunshine and rainbow, so I'm right there with you. But let me say this though, Roy. So I think part of it is the emotional deposit, like you just spoke about, and making somebody feel confident. But here's the other side of things. When you are doing these things, this is one of the most powerful forms of training by example. Because if you really are about this life, you're not a fake or fraud or just a boaster with an inflated ego. If you really are a substance manager or an executive, then the way that you handle a phone call or handle a turn down on the first pencil or something like that, the way that you handle yourself by your body language, by what you say, how you say it, these are all training mechanisms that your people could learn from, so that next time in the future they might not need you or might not need you as much because you're teaching them by example. Do you agree with that?
100%, 100%, 100, and the buy-in on it too. I mean, it's you're not going to get somebody to buy in as much in a classroom as you are on the floor in a real setting with a real customer. Not role play. I'm talking a real life situation that actually worked. That's buy-in.
100%, brother. All right, listen, as we start to wind down, I think we talked about a lot of great things today, but I want to give you the ending here as long as you want. What is something that's really a focus of yours and the organization? What do you guys focus on? Is it training? Is it management? Is it a particular technology? Is it a problem? What's important in your world right now as a manager?
Man, right now the important thing is, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but we're really I'm tasking everyone on my staff to tap into the purpose gene that my people have. I think that we're in a weird point in this industry with a lot of the stuff that's been going on. Your softwares are glitching, right? The issue that just happened with CDK. There's so many things that are
How
happening
about today? The
with
whole world has a global
yes.
glitch where every single flight on planet Earth was grounded or something crazy like that. It's
So,
insane.
so these things are going to happen, right? And you can't control it. It's just showing you even more. A lot of this is out of your control. How much chaos can your people handle before they figure out it's too much, right? So my personal goal with my leaders and our teams is this: tap into the purpose gene with our people so much that no matter if Armageddon happens, these guys and gals are still willing to put on our shirt, come to work, and do work. They trust us. They know that we're going to have their back. They know that we're going to go to work for them. And no matter if it's flooding, if it's a hurricane, whatever the case is, if we say, hey guys, we're going to open up our doors, these people are proud to put those jerseys back on, show up with us, and trust us that we're moving them in the right direction, right? That no matter what happens around us, we're in control of this and we got your back. So if we ask you to show up, and you know that confidently, I, as your leader, am going to do everything I can to help you perform, succeed, and put food on your table. Right. So there's so many things that are happening in the industry. There's so many things that are happening in the market. You can't control trade values. You can't control all of this stuff. What you can control is the attitudes and the minds and the hearts of the people in your store. So keep that at top of mind and think about it when you're upset, when you're frustrated, when you're missing this, when you're missing that. Am I driving? Am I leading my people with purpose? Do they have purpose? What are they doing in this store? Is it a job or a career? And the answer to that, 9 times out of 10, I have more influence on it than you think.
I do have one last question. I apologize because we started the podcast and you brought up a good point, and I want to just ask what is the answer to the point. And the point was that for the last several years, 2 to 3 years, we've been putting people to sleep. People are coming in, and I mean, if you think about it, these vehicles we've been selling have been at list or over list.
Yep.
The interest rates have been higher than they've ever been before. And so again, they're walking out sideways. They need a V8. I mean, a lot of these people now they're coming back, or we're trying to bring them back, and they're upside down. So my question is, how do you deal with that, and how are you going to deal with that when these repeat customers are start coming back from the beginning of the pandemic and what have you? So how do you deal with somebody that's so far out of whack or out of equity because we put them to sleep during the pandemic?
So I think the biggest thing that I'm finding out, Sean, and this is what I'm learning and what I'm ultimately going to take away from this experience coming back into the retail side in this market is you need to work for them. You need to go to work for these clients, and that starts from, like you said, building the rapport, then getting into the guest sheet. There's a pain point, there's a problem, and they know, man, they know that we got them. They know that they got. They know they got took for a little bit. All they want from you at this point is to feel like you're listening, you're engaging, and you care, right? There's two ways you can deal with these customers that have this boatload of negative equity. You can look at it and say, Sean, ain't nothing I can do for you, man. Unless you can go rob a bank or come up with 10 grand, we can't help you out, right? Sorry. Or, hey, Sean, I apologize, man. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come up with a solution. That solution might look like a couple of things. That solution might look like we need more cash down to help with some of the equity. The solution might look like a different vehicle that has some rebates that we can help with. But at the end of the day, Sean, here's what I want to do. I want to help you get out of that situation and get started again right. Now, when it comes to trade values, price points, interest rates, all of that, in order for me to help you accomplish what we need to do, all of those things are important, but I'm going to have to make some masterpiece that makes all of it make sense. The bank will not allow me to overcharge you again, to give you too little for your car, to charge you an egregious interest rate that's going to make your payment way out of whack. At the end of the day, to help you, we're going to have to put all these pieces together. And all I ask is that you give me the time, and I'm going to give you my effort. And if we can put those two things together, Sean, I'm sure we'll come up with some kind of answer.
Brother, as always, I am incredibly impressed at the professional you are and the assets you are to the industry. Thank you for taking time out of your day to share your wisdom and experience with the audience of the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast and our Facebook group. You're a valued member of the tribe, and we appreciate you. Thank you for everything.
Brother, thanks for having me on, man.
fast response times can help you beat the dealer down the street. Get a tool that can respond to your leads in 15 seconds or less and help you book test drives 24/7, nights and weekends, so you can sell more cars. Podium's AI BDC is a conversational AI employee who sells, schedules, and talks with customers day and night and sounds like your best sales rep. Transform potential interest into sales today with Podium. Visit podium.com/MCS to see what AI can do for your dealership. That's podium.com/MCS or click the link in the show notes.